So I decided to challenge myself this week by making something every single day. And I think I wanted to prove to myself that even when I'm busy, and this really was quite a busy week at work, I could still make time for the things that I wanted to if I really wanted to. And creating things is something that's important to me. I think one of my philosophies is to try and create more and consume less. So, sometimes when you're tired, all you want to do is just sit in front of the TV and watch something, which is not wrong. But I just think for me personally, I want to try and use my time a little bit differently. So, yeah, we started off strong this week with this self portrait. I'm finishing this watercolor sketchbook, and I think this is the second last page, perhaps, of the book. So I had a picture of myself making a funny face, and I thought it would be good practice to try and paint myself making a funny expression as opposed to the usual. A bit of a challenge in its own way. So, yes, after a quick sketch, I am starting to paint, and this particular palette is my portrait palette. So, I really like to paint portraits. It's something I've tried doing the last 1 year, and this palette has a lot of colors that are useful for painting skin tones, especially. So, yeah, that's what I am currently doing here. So on the second day, I was honestly feeling quite tired and I didn't feel very creative and able to come up with something from nothing. But I wanted to continue the challenge anyway, so I remembered that I had this grocery list which I bought at an exhibit. So the artist would draw pictures of grocery foods, the meals that she eats, instant noodles. I think she's from Thailand. So at the exhibit, she was selling different um, little pieces of art, prints, and also this grocery list, which I thought was really fun. And the friend I was with told me that I was never going to use it. So I thought this feels like a good day to prove her wrong. So yeah, I decided to draw out some of the things that I would need to buy for some of the meals that I wanted to make, and then write down what the grocery list actually was. So here I'm working on a packet of ramen. Before that, I did a couple of avocados, one ripe, one less ripe, and a bag of salad greens because that's what I needed at that point. So, yeah, I think I was really craving ramen and I was out of ramen. It's not like the healthiest thing around, but sometimes when you just need a quick weeknight dinner, it's something that's easy to do and you can just crack an egg in it and maybe add another source of protein and then you have a simple meal. Here I'm trying to add a loaf of bread. It didn't really look too much like bread, but close enough. I am a big sucker for nice bread. I especially love sourdough bread. And the grocery place near my house sells pretty good bread. So, and finally, I drew a piece of salmon. Salmon is one of my favorite proteins to cook. It's so easy, you could just pop it in the air fryer, or you can add it into the cooking pot and have it as like a one pot meal with your rice. So I think it's very versatile. It's easy to make. You can do it in quite a few ways. You can just chuck it in the air fryer and oven and it turns out well most of the time. So not a difficult protein to make. And yeah, I decided to do a bit of outline in black. Oh, and yeah, I was using acrylic markers for this. This was like a really cheap set I got online. And the nibs are not the sharpest for these acrylic markers, but there's a wide enough range of colors for me to try different things and make things the right color. So, and then here you see me drawing the wires of the grocery cart back because the acrylic marker is opaque enough that it covers what is on the paper. Yeah, so that's another benefit of acrylic markers. They're quite opaque, so if you make a mistake, you can always go over it. And yep, so once I'm done with these lines, I move on to actually writing the grocery list. I am using my Muji fountain pen to write the list. I find this one of the best sort of value for money fountain pens. Like it's really quite inexpensive, but it's very reliable. I find that the ink hardly ever dries, unlike some of my much more expensive pens. It's a smooth writer as well. Maybe not the easiest to hold in terms of like ergonomics. It's quite a thin, narrow pen, but it works. And there you have it, my grocery list for the week.
From Japan, we have sacho pepper. Spice known for its
So once again, I was feeling very tired. I think you can see the trend here. This is probably why I chose such a difficult week at work to do this. I decided that I couldn't even bring myself to sit at my desk and make some art, so I did it in front of the TV. And that day, I think I was reflecting a lot about friendship and how you become friends with people and what that looks like visually. And so I thought, okay, why not make like almost like a short comic about it, which is what I did. So I took my sketchbook and wrote a little of what I was feeling personally and tried my hand at illustrating it, which didn't always go so well. I mean, I was using a pen like straight away, and you see here I dropped a bit of water on the text, and the ink unfortunately wasn't waterproof. But I think an important aspect of art is not feeling like it needs to be perfect all the time, and it needs to be like in a condition where someone can see it, or it needs to be sellable or anything like that. Sometimes you just make art for yourself and for the sake of engaging in a creative process. So that's what I keep trying to tell myself, even when things don't turn out perfectly. And in this case, it really didn't. As you could see, the water smudge right there, and some very, very rough drawings. But at the end of the day, it's the act of creating that really matters to me. So on this day, I had a course the whole day, so it wasn't as tiring in a way because you are mostly learning rather than sort of feeling the pressure on you as you're working. So I had a bit more energy, and I decided that I would sit at my desk finally and do a bit of drawing. So I met one of my ex-colleagues at this course. It just happened that we were both there. We didn't plan for it or anything, and we took a picture together because we were happy to see each other again. And I thought I'd sketch us. So when I was drawing my ex-colleague, I used pencil. It's purple pencil lead in a mechanical pencil. I think it's a Kokuyo mechanical pencil. And while I like painting portraits, I don't really like drawing them because I just don't think I can draw very well. So this was a chance for me to sort of work on that and do like finer details with the drawing. And the purple pencil is quite light, so the strokes are quite faint, I would say, especially on camera. But that allows you to sort of shade a little bit more seamlessly, I feel, because it's not so harsh. So she's always smiling, so it's nice to sort of capture that in this drawing. And then by the time I got to drawing myself, because I was next to her, I was kind of tired of using the pencil. It was taking a bit too long. So I thought, okay, you know what? Let's just go in straight with a brush pen. And of course, that means like no erasing, you have to deal with any mistakes, but that's also something that's good for me to practice because, again, I want to not be so caught up with trying to make everything perfect and take a lot of time to do so. I mean that's the problem, right? If we think like art is very time consuming, it's usually because we're trying to make something so perfect. So for the purpose of what I'm doing today, it's really about just trying to stretch those creative muscles. I did not need it to be perfect, so there was no need to do so. You see my camera is kind of going in and out of focus. It's a new camera, so I'm still trying to figure it out. But every time my hand came in, my hand would go into focus instead of the drawing, and I think I confused the camera quite a bit. Unfortunately, I'll try to fix it next time. But yes, so with the pen, it was kind of like the opposite of the pencil sketch. I had to just make bold strokes, can't do a lot of shading, can't do too many details, and I just had to be satisfied with what I could do, what I could capture with this brush pen. And there you have it. I survived the week and made it to the weekend. So a couple of weeks ago, I had gone with my dad to a pottery studio and we made some pottery works. And my dad chose to have the studio glaze it for him, but I chose to glaze my work myself, which is the first time I'm actually doing something like this. So this first piece is like a trinket tray, pomegranate trinket tray, and I don't know how the colors are going to turn out after they've been fired, but hopefully nice. My second piece was this cup. I think it's a cup. Yes, it's a cup that I made on the pottery wheel. Honestly, I'm not great at pottery. This was my second time trying it, like the wheel, and I just end up breaking it at some point. Like I just can't seem to get a hang of it, but it's fine. The instructors were there to help us sort of clean it up and guide us. So somehow this turned out better than I remembered. But yeah, for the glaze, I thought I wanted to do like a pastel-y mixed wash over the whole thing, except like leaving the rim white, like the top part of the cup. And then every other part I mixed a bit of what I hope would be pink, purple, and blue. The blue may be a little bit too dark. They didn't really have light blue, so I tried to mix one of their darker blues with white, but I still found that the color was a bit dark. Yeah. Honestly, I like how this one turned out. I felt like the colors were very, very soft and pretty and pastel-y. I just don't quite know what it's gonna look like after it's fired, but in this current state, yeah, I really liked it.